So good evening, everyone. On behalf of CoSA BC, a very warm welcome. We're really happy to have you all here tonight. Tonight, the staff of CoSA will be serving as your MCs. I'm Maureen, the operational coordinator, and I've been around since the beginning of CoSA 2003. Which either shows my deep commitment or my complete inability to walk away from something that I'm passionate about. Either way, I think it's safe to say you're probably not getting rid of me anytime soon.
We'll start with just a few introductions of people. We'll begin with Archbishop Richard Smith, the Archbishop of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Vancouver. We also welcome Barb V, CSC District Director for Community Corrections, Pacific Region. And we ask that all our partners from Correctional Service Canada and our BC Correctional partners please stand so we can give you a hand here. We're so grateful for your continued collaboration and support. We are especially grateful to those who provide us with much needed meeting space. Tonight we have Father Galvin here from Holy Rosary Cathedral. And our friends from Night Shift Street Ministries, Carrie Vermeulen and Summer Hawken. We also extend a warm welcome to our Connective Ministries partner, Tareen Daniels, Citizens Advisory Committee, Eddie, Judy, and Shira. I'm not sure if they're here yet. They said they might be running a moment late. And our Vancouver Police Department, Jason Gray. Jason's here, not yet. And all of our donors, we have Nick Elbers here from the BC Catholic News tonight. He'll be taking some photos, but is aware of, being careful around who he gets pictures of. And we also have our wonderful board members here, volunteers, spouses, and obviously the core members, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening.
And I think Candace Murray's here too, aren't you, from the Vancouver Police? Did I see you, Candace? Okay, thank you. I'm sure we've missed some people, but please forgive us. So I'm going to give you a little update on CoSA. It can be the boring part, but it can also be the very interesting part. Because at its core, CoSA is a volunteer-driven program. The role of those of us on staff is to support the real work of CoSA. The work done faithfully and generously by so many volunteers. Tonight's dinner is our way of acknowledging and thanking them for all they have done and continue to do. As we look back on 2025, we have so much to be grateful for. I'd like to briefly highlight 3 important areas from this past year: programming, staffing, and funding. CoSA stands for Circles of Support and Accountability. It is a community-based program where 3 to 4 trained volunteers support and hold accountable a person who has been released from prison. We call this person our core member. Since CoSA BC began in 2003, we have supported over 400 core members, each with their own circle. We currently have 93 volunteers. We have circles in Vancouver, Abbotsford, Surrey, and Chilliwack, as well as virtual circles in Victoria, Campbell River, Kelowna, and Prince George. A little on staffing. As you may remember from last year's dinner, Anita, a longtime volunteer, stepped into a staff role to help us through a transition. She has since returned to the role she loves most, volunteering. We are deeply grateful to Anita for her generosity and her continued commitment to CoSA. She would have loved to have been with us tonight, but is in Mexico getting some well-deserved rest. In November, we welcomed David, who you just met, and his gifts into the role of administrative coordinator. David brings not only strong expertise, but also a deep understanding of the heart of CoSA. Relationships, accountability, and the one I like best, hope. Personally, I'm grateful to share leadership with David and can already see the program is strengthened by his presence. Funding. At this time last year, it was really hard for me to get up and talk about it because we had just learned that our CSC funding had been cut, and we were seriously concerned about the future of the program. While provincial funding through the civil forfeiture grant had been confirmed, all other funding remained uncertain. What happened next was very unexpected. At a critical moment, the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Vancouver stepped forward with a temporary financial support, ensuring that we could continue our work. Later, we received the wonderful news that CoSA had been included in the Archdiocesan budget for 2026. This support not only ensures our survival for the year ahead, it reaffirms the Archdiocese's belief in the importance and value in our work and in the truth that people do change. We are profoundly grateful for the confidence in CoSA and their ongoing commitment. But the good news didn't stop there. While CSC was unable to provide direct funding to CoSA, they shared that their efforts to secure alternative funding on our behalf had been successful. In 2025, CoSA became the recipient of a subcontract with Connective Support Services. We are sincerely and deeply grateful to both CSC and Connective for their commitment, collaboration, and recognition of the vital role that CoSA plays in supporting individuals as they rebuild their lives and strengthen community safety. The partnership is more than funding. To us, it is a sign of trust in our volunteers, our circles, and the impact of this program. Thank you, CSC, and thank you, Connective. So tonight we gather with deep gratitude for the funding and support we received in 2025 from all our funders, including our very generous donors who give on an ongoing basis, many of whom are here with us tonight. Because of all our supporters, we were able to focus on the work of CoSA rather than on its survival. Looking ahead to this year, we are assured of funding from the Archdiocese and from our faithful donors, and we remain hopeful that other funding will also be secured. And that brings our update to a close. Please know that if you'd like any more information or have any questions, feel free to call David, Angela, or myself. And now I would like to invite, is Kat here? Kat? Oh, there you are, in pink. Could Sorry, Kat, I don't have my glasses. Anyway, I'd like to invite Kat to come forward. And Kat is going to bring a message to us from Provincial Corrections. As mentioned earlier, last year CoSA was grateful to be the recipient of a provincial civil forfeiture grant. But we're even more grateful for the cooperation of the probation officers we work with on an ongoing basis. And now it's my privilege to introduce to you Kat. Welcome, Kat. Let's give her a big hand.
Thank you, Maureen. I would like to thank all of you for being here today, and especially CoSA for putting on this wonderful event. As Maureen mentioned, my name is Kat. I am a probation officer with Abbotsford Community Corrections with BC Corrections. I want to start by acknowledging the work that CoSA does. It's not easy, and it's probably not all that glamorous at times, but it is profoundly important. CoSA volunteers choose to stand with people at a point in their lives when many others have turned away. That choice takes courage, compassion, and a deep belief in the possibility of change. Every day, you create a space where accountability and humanity coexist. You help people confront their past behaviors, understand the impact of their actions, and commit to a process of rebuilding their lives in a way that is safe and healthy. That work protects communities, it reduces isolation, reduces risk, and gives people the chance to move forward in a way that honors both responsibility and growth. What strikes me the most is that you do this work without judgment, but never without boundaries. You offer support, but you also insist on honesty and accountability. You encourage hope, but you never ignore the seriousness of the past. The balance is rare, and this is what makes your effort so effective and so meaningful. I also would like to take a moment to thank the core members who choose to engage with CoSA. It takes honesty, humility, and real strength to confront the past, to sit with discomfort, and to commit to doing the hard work of change. Your willingness to participate, to listen, to reflect, and to grow is essential, not only for your own growth, but for the safety and well-being of the community as a whole. Your effort matters, and your courage to stay engaged in the process deserves some recognition. So today, I want to express my sincere gratitude to CoSA as a whole. Thank you for believing that rehabilitation is possible, and thank you for choosing to do the work that makes a difference, even when it goes unseen.
Thank you so much, Kat, for your ongoing engagement with CoSA BC. We really look forward to further collaboration with our provincial partners. I would now like to please welcome up Barb V, the District Director for CSC, Community Corrections Pacific Region, to share a few words with us.
Good evening, everyone. I think I'm somewhere in between Maureen and Kat, safe to say. Thanks to Maureen, David, Angela, I saw Linnea earlier, and the rest of the CoSA team for putting on this fabulous volunteer appreciation and banquet that we've been graciously honored to be invited to year after year. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Katzie, Kwantlen, and Semiahmoo First Nations. My name is Barb V. I'm the District Director for Community Corrections in the Pacific Region, and I'm joined by many of my colleagues here that Angela kindly acknowledged and asked to stand, so I won't make you do it again. That'd almost be exercise. So as mentioned, we are in charge of anyone federally or provincially released on parole, serving a long-term supervision order or statutory release over the BC and Yukon territory. So that's our area. I'm honored to share a table with Archbishop Richard Smith and my longtime colleague, Father Mako, who I have known for many, many years. So I just wanted to give a few updates on sort of the world of CSC and some current initiatives that you may or may not know. I think I've called some of them exciting. I don't know if you will share my sentiment. Maybe boring, but just to give you a little bit of what's happening in the world of Corrections Canada. I think that most of you know that we're responsible for our released offenders serving, or all of our offenders serving 2 years to life. And every so often we need to heighten the focus on some cohorts of our population that we observe to be, needing some extra focus and extra attention. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about some work we're doing with lifers, Indigenous offenders, ethnocultural and Black offenders. These all fall into the sort of intervention and release category. So in relation to the lifer strategy, our national headquarter partners in the offender programs and reintegration division at national headquarters has established a national lifers working group with representation from across the country. And here in the Pacific region, we have 2 long-term CSC members that sit at regional headquarters that sit on that committee. And their mandate is to work with partners, stakeholders, and lifers to develop and lead the strategy, ensuring holistic approach that includes lifers' voices, lived experience, and stakeholders' insights. So you're gonna see a lot of overlapping initiatives that we have with various groups that we partner with in the community, all with the same effort to support reintegration and change. Under the Ethnocultural Services umbrella, it is Black History Month, and in keeping with this, I thought it would be great to share some exciting progress with CSC's Black Offender Strategy. Living Hyphen is a community organization that explores the experience of hyphenated Canadians, anyone that calls Canada home but has roots elsewhere in the world. Living Hyphen just completed 8 3-hour workshops entitled Right As You Are, a storytelling workshop for racialized voices at Mission Minimum and Medium, Mountain and Muscogee institutions. The workshops were based on storytelling and sharing of experiences centered on themes of home, identity, and belonging. These well-attended workshops created space for participants to reflect on their stories and experiences. Goodwill Counseling has been engaged to hold empowerment groups for Black men at 3 medium security institutions. The goal of these sessions is for the men to recognize hurdles, increase trust in their ability to manage challenges, and cultivate a compassionate view of themselves along the way. The aim of Goodwill Counseling is to create a supportive and therapeutic relationship that encourages the growth and well-being of each individual. We are also currently rolling out our Black Justice Strategy in this region, building off the successes in Atlantic and Ontario regions, which have been undertaking pilot programs over the past couple of years. We'll be appointing a Black community reintegration officer who will work with community agencies to strengthen the support system for our Black offenders on conditional release. Lisa Bain is here at my table, and she is overseeing that Black offender strategy for corrections in our Pacific region, and again, building off the strengths that we've learned from our partners in other regions. It's no surprise and not a new story that Indigenous men and women continue to be overrepresented in the criminal justice system, and that includes within CSC. I wanted to share some great news with respect to Section 81 of the Corrections and Conditional Release Act. For those that may not know, Section 81 of the CCRA allows for the transfer of Indigenous offenders from federal custody to an Indigenous governing body or Indigenous organization's care and custody under the authority of the Minister of the Public Safety. Our partners at Circle of Eagles Lodge Society have expressed an interest and have conducted a feasibility study to develop a Section 81 facility at their existing Anderson Lodge for women offenders. Recently, the Minister of Public Safety authorized the negotiation phase of this project so we can begin to bring this to a reality. The main objectives of this are to keep the offender within an Indigenous community, in recognition of the value placed on family and community relationships and access healing and intervention through Indigenous teachings and ceremonies, contact with the elders and spiritual advisors, and culturally relevant programming in an environment that incorporates Indigenous peoples' traditions and beliefs while moving the offender toward a successful reintegration. One of our talented, aspiring leaders, she's not here today, Shannon, is going to be taking the lead with our partners at Circle of Eagles in spearheading this important work. And next week we'll be meeting with them along with some community elders and national headquarters to kick off this important assignment. So in terms of population management, as you know, we're a federal organization with 5 regions across Canada. At times, we need to collaborate and assist other regions in managing above average influx of inmates. This is one of those times. Our partners in Ontario and the Prairie regions have seen a very heavy level of intake, and we've been assisting those regions by transferring offenders into Pacific Region in an attempt to allow offenders swift access to programs and release planning and avoid double bunking. I mention this because while some offenders will be eager to transfer back to their home communities, some will request to remain here, sometimes in relation to accessing their community supports or due to a change in their life circumstances, or even to escape the holds of their previous gang life. This means that community corrections, along with our partners, such as CRS and CoSA, will need to continue to provide support to released offenders during these busy times, and I have no doubt we will be successful. So Maureen mentioned funding, and I have to mention finances. So in the fun world of finance, you may be aware that the federal government has undertaken various cost reduction initiatives, including the Refocusing Government Spending, RGS, RGS2, and most recently the Comprehensive Expenditure Review, or CER, or SIR, always have to have an acronym or a shortcut. With the Comprehensive Expenditure Review, Budget 2025 outlined $13 billion in annual savings by 2028-29 across more than 100 federal organizations. For CSC, this translates into $132 million in savings by 28-29. To get there, CSC will transform the way we work through greater integration of our programming and case management, better use of digital tools, and through realignment and modernization of internal services. Unfortunately, the realignment and centralization of key elements of the public service often comes with a reduction of workforce. And we have identified some portions of our workforce that will be eliminated or reduced. We are hopeful and confident, like the days of the Deficit Reduction Action Plan, we will be able to achieve these savings largely through natural attrition, retirement incentives, and guaranteed job offers for those employees affected by this exercise. However, this remains an extremely stressful time for many of our staff at CSC and our partners in other federal departments going through the same exercise. So back to some good news. You're probably aware that CSC loves to track results, and I wanted to mention some of our positive community safety results. Because the good news stories typically do not find themselves on the front page of the newspaper. And I have to stop saying that because it's way outdated. Maybe the first pop-up in your news streaming app or whatever it is. But also because we do not achieve these results on our own. We do this with the help of our partners, such as CoSA, who work hand in hand with CSC to support individuals through their reintegration journey. Not that it is a contest, but kinda is. Pacific Region is performing better than the national average in almost every measure that we track. And I'll thank Kirsten, also sitting at my table, for always tirelessly calculating our results and putting them into understandable language that we can all live with. These results include program completion, rates of going unlawfully at large, serious convictions while under sentence, urinalysis results, and not returning to the federal system after reaching warrant expiry. In all groups, including women and Indigenous offenders, we are doing better than average in the time spent employed, program completion, the rate of suspension, the rate of revocation, successfully reaching warrant expiry without incident, and by incident I mean suspension or revocation, and again, not being readmitted to federal custody 5 years after sentence expiry. This is huge, and we thank CoSA for supporting core members and celebrate their success in achieving these results, because again, we don't do this alone. In closing, I wanted to express my sincere gratitude for your time, commitment, and supporting our organization collaboratively. Thank you, Maureen and CoSA team, for including us in the annual banquet. We always enjoy this evening, as we have enjoyed our many years of partnership. I wanted to assure that CoSA is a very important partner for us, and although we have gone through some difficult financial times, we strive to always find a way to secure funding for CoSA, knowing that CSC and the core members clearly benefit from this program and have for many years. I wish everyone a wonderful evening, and thank you again for including us in this event.
Thank you so much, Barb. We are really grateful for the long-standing and productive relationship CSC has built with CoSA. I would now like to introduce the Archbishop, Archbishop Richard Smith, who will come and share a message with us and bless our food. This is his first time joining us here, as he's new to Archdiocese this past year, and we're very grateful he could join us.
Thanks, Angela. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be with you. I was installed as the Archbishop last May, and I want to tell you that very, very shortly thereafter, Maureen came knocking on the door. And Maureen is a force to be reckoned with, and it wasn't long before we made the time for you and was it other board members or staff members or a mixture of both came in to see me and explaining to me what CoSA is all about. This was my introduction to CoSA. And so it didn't take very long to realize how good and how important this initiative is. Kat, I think you articulated very, very well what CoSA really is all about and why it's important. And certainly the Archdiocese is very, very happy to support it. In addition to what Kat said, and there's really nothing that can be added substantially to that, I just want to add my own perspective that I realized from the get-go what I believe is at the heart of CoSA. And that's this abiding conviction that we all hold about the dignity of the human person. The dignity of the human person as inalienable. The dignity that continues to perdure regardless of past or present circumstances. And it's precisely that conviction with respect to the unchanging, inalienable human dignity that we all possess in virtue of being the children of God that fuels CoSA and fuels in particular the volunteers that are part of it. I'm glad we're having this volunteer appreciation evening. And I want to add my own personal thanks to the volunteers and also to you, my expression of esteem. I want to salute you. Volunteer means that you are giving of yourself freely for a cause that's extremely important and at moments delicate. And you are expressing to the core members, and I hope the core members really do receive this message, that we're ready to stand with you and accompany you, support, challenge, everything else that CoSA stands for, because we recognize the dignity inherent within each and every one of you. So it's good that we're together. And Angela, I think this is the moment when we ask for the Lord's blessing on, okay, so let's pray together. Bless us as well as we share this meal and draw us closer to one another and deepen our commitment to serving those who are in need. We pray as always through Christ our Lord. Amen. Bon appetit.
Thank you, Your Grace. It's a true honor to have you with us this evening, and we sincerely hope that this will be the first of many occasions we are able to gather together. For a lot of us here tonight, it's the first opportunity to meet with you, which makes your presence especially meaningful. We're grateful that you have taken your time away from your busy schedule to be with us, so thank you.
Angela and Maureen and Tina, and I am now on my first circle. Thank you everyone for being here and sharing this extraordinarily special place. I think it's the most realist, double superlative place that I have ever come to through the year. When Maureen asked me to reflect on why I volunteer with CoSA, I realized that the reasons that I volunteer with CoSA are actually the same as why you are all here today. We are all here, I believe, because we are stigma disruptors, restorative justice advocates, and believers that lasting community safety is built on connection and not isolation. And as I continue my journey with CoSA, my hope is to be good medicine to our core volunteers and my and the core members. And to all our core members who are here and not present today, I am constantly inspired by your stories, your courage, your resilience. I believe you can do this, and your CoSA Circle is here to support you because we believe in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. You can see why we need more females, right? Thank you, that was lovely.
Hi, I'm Deacon Tim. I've only been a volunteer with CoSA less than a year. Currently I'm on 3 circles, but I have about 20 years experience working in correctional facilities. I started off at Vancouver Pretrial as a chaplain. I became a guard. I was seconded out to do probation. Then I left that and went and worked in a hospital, and then I found myself at Pacific Institution as the chaplain. So I have a well-rounded view of corrections. So why do I volunteer? I volunteer because of what you've heard from the core members already about the ability to change, the desire to change. And I truly believe that if someone is committed to making the changes in their life, they can do it. Based on my experience as a chaplain, I can tell you that I've seen people want to get out. I've seen them sabotage themselves as soon as they get close to probation. And because of fear of something. I've also believe, based on my experience, that a lot of this behavior is based on their own personal trauma, life trauma, and that if we can work on that trauma, that we can bring about changes in their life. You can't change the past. That bell's rung, that sound's gone, you're never getting it back. But we can rewrite our stories. I can't lie. I can't tell a story that isn't true. I have to maintain the truth. But when I look at my story, instead of saying, oh, the whole town was against me, I can look at the town and go, no, that's not quite true. So-and-so helped me. He helped me there. And then this guy helped me here. Oh yes, and this lady, she helped me. And so the stories that we tell ourselves, the lies that we tell ourselves, those are what we have to break. The lies that other people have told us, you're no good, you'll never amount to anything. Those are stories that most of the guys in institutions have heard. And they have to break those lies. They have to get it in their mind that that's not the truth, that they can change, they can amount to something, they can do something. The probation and parole people, you started this career out of altruistic ideas. You thought you could make a difference, and you can make a difference. It's just not always easy, because not everyone who gets out is really committed to making changes, and that causes trauma for ourselves. We get jaded, we get whatever. So again, it's my belief that people can change, And it's my commitment to try and help people overcome their deficits. My wife is a learning resource teacher, and in some ways I kind of like that. That's what we're doing. We're living resources. We help people learn how to live their lives. We get to help people take a look at their lives and re-examine their lives and retell their stories according to truth. And that's what's important. They can make a difference. And the embarrassment, the shame that they had over their index offenses, yeah, it's always going to be there in some form. But as long as they know they've overcome it, they can be better people. And so I'm doing my part the way I can through CoSA, and I thank you for all the volunteers, the CSC, the BC Corrections, for doing what you do. So thank you very much, and together we can make a difference.